Hello everyone, and welcome to another manga volume review. I am the Rat, and this is The Rat's Nest. Today we are talking about a volume that I read a while ago. I read this for the first time a while ago, and I just never got around to recording it, and so I was like, well, I'm going to have to reread it, so I reread it, and now I am here to discuss it. This volume is none other than Berserk Volume 12. I read this not long after I finished 11, and that went up. And then I just didn't have time to record it. It just slipped, and then it was just like, well, I just got to reread it. So I've done that. And yeah, it was a good volume. If I had to reread any of them, Volume 12, it's a goodie. The beginning of the eclipse, right? There's a lot of very good stuff here. Now, I want to go ahead and preface all this by saying, this is my first time reading through Berserk. And I am not like an expert on stuff, and so I'm going to give my own thoughts on everything here, and I am not going to claim that it's the deepest retrospective on everything or that I understand everything correctly. But gosh darn it, I'm gonna have fun. I quite loved this volume. Man, we're getting into Berserk now, right? It's Berserk in time, if you so please, as Nuts himself says. This, man, there's a lot of good character moments in here, right? This is mainly Griffith's volume, right? Mainly his, because we kind of start off and the Hawks are like, hey, is what that monster guy from last volume said true? Like, is Griffith like he's never gonna recover? And it's like, yeah, and so it's like the dream is dead. So dreams are the big theme of this volume, right? Where we get to see the Hawk's dream here die, and kind of we get to see a little bit of it morph, right? Because through other characters, the guy whose name starts with the J, we see him talking to Casca. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I apologize. We see him talking to Casca, and he's like, I'm going to get the ones that want to come with me together. We're going to form a thief thing, that kind of thing. So that's kind of continuing the dream. Not really. It's a morphing of the dream, because as we see later with Griffith too, all of these guys' dreams was with Griffith, and to see, okay, what kind of kingdom are you going to build? Putting their trust in serving Griffith and his dream. And so we kind of get to see now that dream is dead, right? Because Griffith isn't going to recover by any normal means. We see that morphs like that, and we also see Guts himself is going to go, but we see the Marauders, or his crew, right? His crew, and we see them be like, look, we all talked it over, like if you're going, we want to go with you, we don't care what happens, we don't care what you do, we want to go with you, you're our captain, right? Well, again, so they're transferring the dream that they had in Griffith to the dream that they have now in Guts, and kind of going to follow him. So it's interesting to see kind of how that shifts, right? This legendary group, the Band of the Hawks, break up and kind of go their separate ways, and seeing how that dream that they all shared in Griffith kind of goes out together, right? And we also get to see some interesting stuff with Nuts and Casca at the beginning here, where they have their little moment, and then Griffith sees, and then Casca goes in to take care of him. And then he, puts himself on top of her, and she sees how weak and how small and how frail he is, and is like, I can't leave him. I think very intentional on Griffith's part, right? I think that the way that Miura has written this to be where Griffith doesn't get much dialogue, especially during this part, and much thoughts, very, very interesting, because it really is more of a show don't tell kind of thing, and I can always appreciate that. Just plainly the writing itself in this volume is phenomenal. Need I mention the art? It's Berserk. It's gonna have amazing art. This volume especially. Oh my gosh, like wow. I mean, I'm reading this in the deluxe editions. That's how I'm reading through, because I could go through and read every chapter online if I wanted to, but I'm going through on the deluxe editions and reading them there, and man, it is, the deluxe editions is man, I don't know if I could go and read it on a screen, because it's different. It hits different. All the arts and all the spreads of the eclipse and everything. Oh my gosh, it's so good. But we see Griffith, right? So this is his big thing. Well, first we get Casca tells Nuts, and she's like, okay, I can't go with you. Like, I have to take care of Griffith. I can't abandon him. He's so small. He's weak. He's a little soy boy. I hate him. He's weak. I can't abandon him. Like, I can't go with you. Wherever you go, right, you're going to do well, right? And so this is where Nuts realizes, again, talking about dreams, he's always looked for a place to belong, right? A place to belong, and that's why he left the Hawks originally, was to find that place. But as he realizes this volume with his band coming and being like, we want to follow you, and then seeing Casca going to, not go with him, he's like, maybe this was where I had my home, right, with the Hawks. Maybe, with Griffith, with Casca back before everything. Like, if I hadn't gone, what would have happened to Griffith? Would he still be in this state? And just realizing that, and then the whole thing where he's like, why do I always realize it after it's gone? And that's, that's been his whole thing, is what is his dream, right? And following that and wanting a place for himself. And so just coming in and getting more on that. It's very good, and him realizing, was that a smart decision to make? And him not knowing the answer there, right? Because now the band's breaking up, right? And so we get to see that, and that's just, that's great. Him and Casca, obviously their relationship has been really well written, and just all the development there with his character and everything has been great to read about. And then we get the first big thing with Griffith, where he sees himself hallucinating, pointing towards the castle in the sky, right? That castle in the sky being a pretty big point, if I so believe, being a pretty important part of the puzzle here. We see him on his back cobblestone path. I think it's interesting. I don't know if this was intentional or not. Not to read too much into it, but I liked how, with his currently broken body, he was seeing his younger child self run away and get away from him, and he would lose it. And, that's symbolizing, in his current state, there's no way he could possibly follow that same path. There's no way he's getting towards that castle in the sky, right? That kind of thing. And, the normal him pointing towards it, reminding him, right, who he once was, that kind of thing. And, then he chases after it. He uses the carriage to go towards it. And then Nuts and Casca obviously going after them. He mobilizes everyone to go after him. He goes, and then this is interesting. So he hits a thing and he goes flying. Well, and in that time he sees a flash forward, a vision of the future, where he's married with Casca, and they have a kid, and they're just living their own, and it's a peaceful life, right? And he's like, maybe it was just a dream. Maybe this isn't so bad. But then the Behelit shows up. Uh-oh, right? Funny Behelit, man. Then the Behelit shows up. So this was an interesting flash forward, because I think this genuinely could have been the future that it was building towards, had Griffith, not given in and become a member of the God Hand. Because, and then as we see later with the Skull Brain of the God Hand, I don't know their names, with Skull Brain of the God Hand coming through, and him saying, well, we'll get into that. But I thought it was very interesting to see this little vision of what could be, right? And seeing how normal of a life Griffith could have had, and seeing him almost be fine with that until once again the Behelit shows up, right? So then the Behelit shows up, funny, and it's got blood on it, that kind of thing. I'm not going to pretend to fully understand everything that's happening here. I don't think I'm intended to fully understand everything that's happening here, and I'm trying to remember it the best that I can. We see him with this thing. Nuts catches up to him, and Nuts is going up to greet him. And Griffith doesn't want him to touch him, because he's like, if you put my hand on his shoulder, then I'll never again with you, I think was the wording. And so then Nuts touches him, and the Behelit's face rearranges, eyes open up, and it screams, or at least weeps. I don't know. I can't hear it, right? That kind of thing. So I assume this is a pretty big moment. I thought originally, whenever I first read this, I was like, oh, this is marking him as the ultimate sacrifice for Griffith, that kind of thing. But then obviously all the hawks become the sacrifice for Griffith to awaken. So I wonder then what the importance, like, was it just nuts specifically touching him there to be like, oh, okay, then all the people around are going to be the sacrifices then? Like, was Griffith going to go to like a random village and have someone touch him there and then that village is sacrifice? Because I think to awaken as a member of the God Hand with the Crimson Behelit, it would require a sacrifice of people like the Hawks to Griffith, regardless of his ultimate feelings on them. I think that it would require a sacrifice of that magnitude to reawaken as that. So I don't know what the importance. I mean, maybe Guts is the specific, like the ultimate sacrifice, right? For Griffith to awaken, or maybe he just wanted Guts to be away and then just sacrifice the Hawks. I don't know, but it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting to think about. And obviously, touches him, the Behelit screams, and the eclipse begins. And I've already mentioned that the art. Oh my gosh, the art is just. I mean, right? Yeah, you know the art. It's just, oh my gosh, it is really, really, really good art. Like, just. I mean, I can't. I mean, just really good doesn't even do it. Like, I mean, like, it's some of, if not the best art I've seen in manga. It's definitely up there. I don't know if I can call it strictly the best, because I've read a lot of manga with some phenomenal art. But it's definitely up there. It's really good. And yeah, so then the eclipse starts. Just the scenery here. Oh my gosh. I don't know if this was adapted in like the good Berserk anime adaptation. If it was, I need to just watch the old, like the 98 or something one. Whatever the old one that I think people say that's pretty good. Oh my gosh, just this change of scenery and the atmosphere and everything, and just the terror and all the demons and everything everywhere. Cool. And then we get the God Hand revealing themselves. We got the hot lady, the flying bald dude holding his hands, the standing bald dude holding his hands who's constantly pogging, and then we got I don't know why I want to call him Zod. I think his name is like Nosferatu or something. Maybe it's Nosferatu Zod. I don't know. Maybe I'm right on the money with that. Brain dude. We got the brain dude who's probably my favorite design of the series. Ignoring Hot Lady because she's hot, right? But of the God Hand, brain dude's probably my favorite. Because dude, his design hits, right? And so then they talk with Griffith and Nuts is there and all the others, and then Griffith is taken up to the palm of the God Hand where the rest of them sit on the fingers, with one empty. I wonder what that is. And we see all the demons here were humans transferred by Behelits, but Griffith has the Crimson Behelit, right, which allows him to reawaken as a member of the God Hand. He was chosen for it, as they worded it, like you've been recognized because of your actions and given it to you, or maybe you were destined to have it. Or maybe like because you have it, your actions were that way. It was cool. I can't remember exactly how they worded it, but I enjoyed the wording there. And then they were like, now let's look at who you are, right? And this is where we get his thing of going towards the castle in the sky. This whole thing with the castle in the sky and Griffith, I absolutely love. I think that it is great. As we see, Griffith, and it's like, they're like, this is reality. This is, this isn't an illusion, right? This is reality. And we get to see Griffith young going along this cobblestone path, right, towards the castle in the sky. And he realizes it's built with the bodies of those they had to trample on to get there. And obviously, direct thing where it's like, yeah, they're like, yeah, you have to trample over the bodies of those who, tried to get here, of those under you, to get to the castle in the sky. And, the whole thing of, and you can't stop, because if you stop, you're going to become just another one of them. You have to keep going. And he gets to see people, and there's specifically one friend where he's like, let me be a knight. Let me see let me live with you in the castle, right? Let me be a knight with you. He's like, I can't, you're already dead. And sure enough, the friend was already dead, and see everyone else. And all the people that died for him, and all the people that were killed for him and because of him. And they're all lining this path to the castle in the sky, right? Griffith's ultimate dream of living in that castle in the sky, right? That that ultimate pursuit of his ultimate dream, his own kingdom, his own castle in the sky, right? His dream, right? Funny dream theme, right? Throughout this volume, and just him realizing like I don't want to go. Like why do I have to go? Like why do I want this? And he's like I have to keep going. He said because if I don't, then I'll never reach it, right? He's like, I'll never reach that castle in the sky if I don't keep going, if I don't keep trampling over those. It's going to cost more and more bodies, but I can't stop. And then we get what I absolutely love with his brain guy talking to Griffith. And I love this speech, right? Because he's talking to him after this. He's like, that's the kind of person you are, right? You're the type of person, you don't care what it's going to take, right? You're going to climb over the bodies, right? You're going to build up the road of bodies to get to the castle in the sky. More and more and more, you're going to get there, right? That is you. That is the person you are. And he's like, now look, you have two options here, basically. You can trust your broken body to your friends, and they'll care for you, that kind of thing. They'll serve for you and everything. He said you might even have a happy life with them, right? He said, but it's going to cost your dream. You will never achieve your dream like that. You'll just become another body on the road, right? Everything would have been, all those bodies for nothing, right? You would never have achieved your dream. It's the cost of your dream to live like that. Said, but, and I love, this is probably my favorite panel from the entire volume, and probably my favorite panel from Berserk, if not just one of them, where he's like, if even now that the castle in the sky shines brighter than anything else, or however it's worded, and he's just pointing. I love his arms because they're like super long. That's cool. It's a very cool design. He's pointing, and we just see Griffith there, and it's like, he's like, then chant I sacrifice with all your heart, and then and you will get the power to achieve it. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's really cool. And he also said he's like you, whenever he's explaining what he could do first, he's like, that is the cruel mercy of the God-born of man. Which that line goes hard, dude. That line goes hard. And it's just like, oh my gosh, like it's good. It is really, really good. It's just good stuff all throughout. I love it. I'm a huge, it's great. It's great, right? I can't even put it into words. It's great, right? The fifth time I've said that. And then we get to see Griffith, and he sees Guts, and he's like, that's right, you were the only one throughout hundreds of thousands of people, enemies and friends and allies. You were the only one who made me forget my dream. And we don't even get to see him say the whole I sacrifice. We just see it as an afterthought there, which I loved. I was like, that is an awesome decision, because you already know, right? You don't need to see Griffith chant I sacrifice. You already know what he's going to do. You already know what type of person he is, right? You already know what he's going to say, what he's going to do. But it's putting the emphasis not on the I sacrifice, because you already know that. It's putting the emphasis on the fact that Guts got in the way of his dream. And that's what allows him to fully sacrifice. That you know what you call it, but that's the focus there. Not the I sacrifice, because everyone already knows that. It's the fact that Guts got in the way of his dream. And then that's that. And Griffith is enveloped by the faces and whatnot as he undergoes his transformation. And the demons all go to start feast on the Hawks. And Mayhem and Guts is trying to get Griffith out, and he's like, there's no way. And the God Hand's like, you heard him. You heard the guy, Mr. Nuts. You heard him. And Guts is like, there's no way, right? There's no way. And he stops in the doubt, and he's just like, is this what you really wanted? And we just see Casca going around. It's crazy. We also get to see her at the end of the volume, Puck, I think his name is, the little fairy guy from volume 1, or the first couple volumes of volume 1 of the deluxe edition, because I can't remember how many volumes that took up. We get to see that guy come back again. He's the little fairy, and it's talking about, this guy has a fate, and I think that's Rickard, and he's outside, and he sees a big cone, which is where the eclipse is happening. And we get to see a demon facing the Skull Knight out there. And then the volume ends. What a good volume. I absolutely loved it. I loved the theme of dreams throughout of it. I loved getting to see more and more of Griffith's character and him interacting with the God Hand, and obviously him becoming a demon. It's just, man, it's really good. The Eclipse has totally lived up to the hype. The art, the thematicisms, the character climaxes. And this is just the beginning, right? Next volume is like the Eclipse, right? Look, this might be my first time reading Berserk. I know two things that happen, right? I know that Griffith goes a little crazy with Casca. I think that's next volume. And I know that there is a certain horse that happens, I think, in Deluxe Edition Volume 6. Those are the two things I know about Berserk. It's going to be wild. I am really looking forward to the rest of the Eclipse and post-Eclipse, and just seeing, Nuts get back to kind of where he was at the beginning, right? The black swordsman, right? That kind of thing. Man, I can't wait to see him suffer. I can't wait to see him suffer more. That's so true. But just Berserk Volume 12, absolutely amazing. Maybe my favorite volume of Berserk yet. It's been really good. There's good stuff here, right? There's probably people who've done video essay upon video essay of this volume and the Eclipse itself. But this is just my little first time reading it, thoughts, interpretations, that kind of thing. And I am really, really looking forward to Volume 13 and Deluxe Edition Volume 5. And what I'm not looking forward to is trying to fit Volume 4 on my shelf, because I'm going to have to rearrange stuff, because this is just a big volume. So if you're still watching, there's obviously something you like, so make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling me what your favorite part of this volume was. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.